Hello, and thanks for tuning in. As always, this is Reverend JR, and in case you've been living in a bubble, I just wanted to let you know that Count Dankula, the fella who taught his pug to make a gesture, is going to be sentenced in about a month for the crime of hate speech by teaching a dog to wave. Anyway, we've got a video to review and respond to, which is not related to that at all. I just wanted to say I stand with Count Dankula. Let's get into it. And right off the gate, we have one of these Muslim videos with the music in it again, even though we were told on the same channel this one came from that music is haram. You know, consistency. Anyway, this video is about whether or not Stephen Hawking discovered the theory of everything. Short answer, no. I really didn't imagine this channel being one who would like the influence of Pink Floyd so much. Right off the bat, I'm even more confused. Is Stephen Hawking well known for pointing guns at children? I mean, the context doesn't really seem clear here.
Do not waste my time. Give me my freedom first.
I agree. Freedom is pretty great. Breaking news, this just in. They finally figured out how to use a cell phone with one hand. That jump cut should have been a little earlier or a little later. The increased audio really is jarring.
Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, Larry Page, the founder of Google, and many of the rich people spend billions of dollars for the immortality studies.
Seriously though, this back and forth bullshit baffles me to no end.
Everybody desires freedom.
See though, I'm not sure what immortality has to do with freedom. Are you saying heaven is actually a jail sentence and you're not free? Interesting.
And one of them is Peter Thiel, who is one of the American billionaires that used this legendary sentence.
Goodness, I hope they do one more jump cut just so it makes it harder for me to understand what he's saying.
We should stand against the ideology of the inevitability of the death of every individual.
Bro, do you even have a sound mixer? What kind of cell phone do you have that gives you static when you play a different video? It's not the radio. Also, like, why is this guy walking on a beach and paying attention to political news on his cell phone? Also, what's so bad about trying to live longer? You don't seem to mind all of the other modern technologies and conveniences you're using that science has provided, like improved crop yields so, you don't starve, and YouTube, which is built on the internet. I mean, come on.
Let me ask you a question.
Finally, we're getting into something.
If you look at the history, who comes to your mind first when I say he made such important contributions to humanity? He's the best contributor of all times for mankind. Who came to your mind first? Newton? Edison? Einstein?
I think you get the idea.
Has anybody thought of Prophet Muhammad first? No?
Last I checked, he didn't discover radiation, and he certainly didn't free any slaves. I mean...
Because the materialistic system washed our brains in this subject too. And now, I'll question it.
Well, I didn't immediately think of Muhammad for the same reason I didn't think of anyone else who started a genocidal religion that's main aim is to wipe out anyone who disagrees with it. Just saying. I don't think violence and separatist ideas are good for humanity.
Imagine that you suddenly find yourself in a bus.
Yeah, but remember, you just told me materialism is bad, and most of your public buses are, plastered with photos and they play music on them, which is haram. But I guess consistency doesn't matter, as long as you can push your narrative, right?
Who brought you here? Why did you come? You know nothing.
Help, I'm on a bus. I've forgotten where I am. I don't know how I got here. Please, someone inform me of the meaning of life.
And you witnessed such a cruel atmosphere in the bus that In every 60 seconds, one person randomly gets off by force and you are told that person is killed.
Yeah, and what does this have to do with anything? Is this supposed to be an analogy for riding a bus? Or for real life? What am I supposed to understand here? And also, what has this got to do with the title of the video?
You don't know when your turn will come, and at the same time, there are new people brought to bus. So you feel scared because you may get off and killed anytime.
Seriously, is this supposed to be an analogy for how death is inevitable and that makes us uncomfortable?
And in such a situation, someone comes to you and says this: you should make some works in the bus and you should leave them to the new coming people until you get off, so that even if you die, you will be remembered with your works.
Is the implication here supposed to be that, eventually you'll die, so there's no point in trying to do anything, but if that's the point, then why is he trying to convert anyone to his religion? Genuinely not sure where this is gonna go. I haven't actually watched it beyond this point, because again, I thought they were going to be talking about whether or not Stephen Hawking had made advances in physics, not whether or not people die on buses.
And he gives you a work that he has made in the bus. What do you say to him? Are you kidding with me? Is it the contribution you do for me right now? I may get off any time. If you want to contribute me, solve my death problem first.
Maybe it's trying to say that because we can build light bulbs, we can somehow also do everything. I wonder if he understands the fallacy in this argument.
Well, suppose that you haven't said that, and listen to the man and start to make some works. And you say the same thing to the newcomers. Make some works and live with them. Would it be a favor to the new coming people who may get off any time, or would it be just deceiving them and wasting their time?
If I know there's a murder bus going around town, I'm going to try to stop bringing people onto it. This sounds like an excellent reason not to have children, honestly. I'm not sure what else you're arguing. But sticking more strictly to the question, why would it make any difference what you do on the bus if you were forced to be on there and you're going to be forced to be off? Enjoy your time, do things, and then eventually you're done. I mean, regardless of whether you die at the end or not, that's no reason to be sat around doing nothing just because you feel bad about that going to happen. The fact that we're dying didn't stop your prophet from writing his book, after all. I genuinely don't understand what you're asking.
And think that the system in the bus works like that. Generations come and go, and nobody tried to question the system and rescue himself and the others from the real danger.
So if I know that I'm going to die, I think he's asking, is it better that I work on things I can do in my lifetime? Or is it better that I just do what humans have always done? Or is it better if I try to work to make it so that we don't die? Or if there is a way to make us not die, why do we work on other things? Again, it sounds like a lot of questions, and I'm not sure I have a concise answer that covers all four of them. Hopefully he'll get to the point soon.
But they rather make their 5 or 10 minutes lifetime more technological and easier with the works that they leave for each other.
Yeah, never mind all the countless endeavors in which we have engaged that have increased the average lifespan consistently in the past 5,000 years with that technology. I'm sure this guy would much rather have polio or die of consumption or something, right? Much rather drink the water from the Nile and catch a parasite and slowly die over the course of 5 years before he's 30 than he would to live until he's 90 and be reliably healthy in doing so. Yup, that would just be terrible. In this analogy, I guess you could say the works that are being done cause the gunmen to come in less and less often.
And people doing this are acclaimed for generations and get awarded and they make history.
See, I think you don't understand what you're saying. The fella who figured out how to cure cancer didn't become rich. He didn't get rewarded for it. He just happened to save humanity from polio. That was enough for him to do the best work he could to reduce as much suffering as he could. Do you even know his name, by the way? I presume you haven't died of polio yet.
I guess if a CNN reporter comes to this bus he would make news as the biggest scandal of all the time.
Yeah, and now you can understand why us atheists don't really like it when you go around saying your God is the gunman, and then telling us your prophet is one of those people helping him take people off the bus, and that your entire religion is dedicated to getting all people who don't believe your prophet off the bus as quickly as possible.
A scandal at a mathematics lesson in which it is said that 2 plus 2 is equal to 5.
And again, that also never happens. Straw man. Next point.
Would be more simple, but it is how the system works.
آقا اجازه مگه 2 با 2 4 نمیشه؟
من دارم به تو میگم 2 با 2 5 میشه. پس چه سوال نیست. فهمیدی؟
Come to think of it, it does sound like something I've heard before. Can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it'll come to me.
آقا فقط فکر کردیم که
فکر نکن. نمیخواد فکر کنی.
It's a good thing there's no schools where they teach people that they must unquestionably accept the authority of others, based simply on stupid reasons or something, right?
We are in a giant bus that has 7 billion of people. And in every 60 minutes, 10,000 people get off. And as the materialistic mentality says that, they lose their life.
I mean, yeah, that's generally the idea. You can't have an afterlife if there is no after to your life.
And in this situation, what the modern system blesses and teaches us is to work on new discoveries, do more science, produce more technology for the mankind. And this is the definition of making contribution to the new generations and civilization.
That's correct. You seem to have no problem wearing modern clothes, wearing jewelry like that necklace. You seem to have no problem using fibers like nylon to create that chair you're sitting in, or denim to make a durable fabric that covers your balls. I mean, that cell phone you were watching the video on, you seem to have no problem with it. The camera you're speaking into seems to be absolutely fine in your opinion for spreading your message. So yes, I would presume this isn't a big deal for you. I mean, for Pete's sake, your holy book even comes printed on a printing press that was originally derived by somebody using one of those inventions that happened during someone's life.
Even we Muslims think this way too. This is a first aid scandal. Yes, please think about a person who has a vital danger. And you say this to him. Hey buddy, take this iPhone 14. That's our contribution to you, and you should make 15 for new generations, okay?
So, someone has a child at gunpoint, you have a cell phone, and your first instinct is not call emergency services, it's not put the phone down and help, it's not maybe throw the phone at the person with the gun, or maybe video it just in case you need evidence or something. I mean, granted, a phone isn't going to stop a gun. And your real complaint is that someone came up with cell phones instead of curing childhood cancer that your God created in the first place. Or whatever. I don't understand. Do you think the people making cell phones are the same ones who can cure diseases that kill us? And do you think that technology doesn't help us delay the gunman in this instance? Weird.
Is this a contribution to him? If a person has a vital danger, all the other plans are cancelled for him. Even if he has a big concert, even if he plays for the World Cup final, even if he enters the university exam, his only plan would be escaping from death.
So what you're telling me is, because everyone dies and we do so at different rates, that I should be so overcome and paralyzed by fear that I should never do anything ever again, and because I'm afraid of death, that means no one else should do anything either. Do you not see how weird this sounds?
Also, what does this have to do with Stephen Hawking?
Well, is there anybody who doesn't have a vital danger? In that bus, in which in every 60 seconds someone gets off and dies, for which passenger can we say that he doesn't have a vital danger?
That's right. Someday even the narrator of this video will die, and yet he stood here making a video instead of doing something to offset the eventual demise of himself. Why on earth would he do this? Oh, you're still gonna die. Still gonna die. So you better have some fun before you say goodbye. 'Cause you're still gonna die.
So in a world that in every 60 minutes 10,000 people die randomly, regardless of them being rich, poor, young or old.
No, but the poor people tend to die faster and with more regularity because they don't have the conditions the people with the higher technology have. The gunman comes more often for them in this analogy. Similarly, rich people and people in developed nations who don't get dysentery, for example, or who have adequate ways to deal with it, do not die nearly so painfully as those who dehydrate to death from shitting themselves.
So who doesn't have a vital danger, and what would be the contribution that should be done for him?
Not real sure, man. That's the thing you're supposed to be trying to convince me of. That's why I'm watching your video.
Also, what does this have to do with Stephen Hawking?
For this reason, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the best contributor to the mankind in the presence of Allah. He has brought new messages from the bus owner, and he has displayed a quite different scenario to us. He tells that those who got off from the bus didn't lose their lives as the materialist mentality says. On the contrary, they were just sent to endless lives, endless places.
Oh, well, in that case, then I'll also say that I am from God. The message I have is that you're wrong, and you should just listen to me because I said I'm from God. Will you do that for me, my friend? You think you could just please bury me with it? I mean, you accept it because one guy said it a long time ago. But I'm telling you, man, I know the bus owner too. And he says we all just die when we're dead.
Also, what does this have to do with Stephen Hawking?
The thing that disappears in the soil is not us, but just our material, our body.
Let me ignore the logical inconsistencies of immaterial things being material. If we do go to live forever when we die, like there's no way around it, how does that change what we do while we're actually here inside the material stuff?
And we are sent to endless lives with our souls.
Okay, let me ask this a little more plainly and succinctly. Why does it matter what happens after we die? I mean, I'm going to be there forever anyway, longer than the universe is around an infinite number of times. And I have no control over this in the first place because it's completely immaterial. Therefore, it's not like I can be punished after I'm dead, because that would require, physical sensations and physical emotions and that kind of thing. Why wouldn't it be logical for me to do the best I can to make this physical thing, according to you, the only thing I can actually ever feel because it's the only thing that's material? Why wouldn't I want to make that more pleasurable for myself and others? I don't understand.
So he perishes our vital danger and the idea of losing our lives. Of course, we may talk about the evidence of it in other videos, inshallah, but we should understand it clearly that transmitting the immortality message of the Quran is as important as giving water to a person who dies of thirst.
Well, no, you just told me it isn't. You told me I'm going to live forever regardless of what happens to this body. Letting me die of thirst is actually of no consequence because you believe I'll be alive forever anyway, you see. See, you've made this weird 180 where you said our works and everything do not matter because we're eventually going to perish, but then because we live forever, our works actually do matter. You can't have it both ways. Sorry.
This is the first aid to do the millions of people who have a vital danger. All the other earthly contributions come after this. The modern system may not confirm this, but you, young Muslim, you should stand against it.
Yeah, it's silly to believe 2 plus 2 equals 5 because someone tells you to, so make sure you understand that 2 plus 2 equals 5 because we tell you it does. Please ignore whatever contradiction you might have heard there. Listen to us, because we're right. Even though they have evidence and facts and stuff, you should just ignore that and not question our version of the stories.
Also, what does this have to do with Stephen Hawking?
2 میشه 4. وقتی همه چی 4 میشه چطوری ممکنه این دفعه 5 بشه؟
اصلا کی به تو چیز رفتن داد؟ به چه حقی من سوال میبری؟
آقا فهم می‌خواستم بگم
2 با 2 5 میشه. تکرار کن.
ولی آقا روی تخت
تکرار کن.
Remember, guys, Allah is real. Keep pushing it into the children's head. Even though there's evidence there isn't. Come on, you can see God's not real. Shut up, kid. You know he is. But no, there's no evidence for him. Shut up, kid. Allah's real. And I'm still not sure where this narrative is trying to go.
Also, what does this have to do with Stephen Hawking?
2 برابر 2
رو به
4. هم تو میدونی که 4 میشه.
تخته رو نگاه
تو
کن.
هم که میدونی 4 میشه چیزی نمیگی.
سکوت. چون نخواد برگردم.
Yeah, guys, I know what's right. I know the bus driver. I know exactly what's going on. Sit down, shut up, and don't do anything unless I tell you to. That's the point the video's trying to get across, right?
این دانش آموزان از ممتازترین دانش آموزان مدرسه‌ن. الگوی این مدرسه‌ن. یه ذره از اونها یاد بگیرید.
I think the video doesn't understand the problem with the analogy it made. Religion is the one that tries to shove itself down your throat and get you to conform and do things on the basis of what someone tells you. Oh, it's in my holy book, it must be right. If you disagree with it, you're going to jail. You'll be beheaded. We will get rid of you. That's the ideology that religions in general, specifically Abrahamic ones, tend to push. Not science. Science lets you go out and test it. Science has been wrong plenty of times, and that's how we find out what isn't real and what is. We don't just go around saying people have immaterial souls because we want to feel good about ourselves. We say people do not appear to have immaterial souls, and then these people come to us and say, no, you definitely do, and if you disagree with us, we'll chop your head off.
بگیم ببینم. 2 با 2 چند میشه؟
آقا اجازه 5 میشه آقا.
آفرین. حالا حاصل جمع چند میشه؟ جواب سریع بنویس.
When you want to go after the truth, when you try to make the real contribution to the passengers, you may be blamed as people like you don't have any benefit to the life standard in the bus.
Anyway, that video was just a massive clickbait. Straw man. The problem is, many religions take that stance. Not science. Not education. Teachers, at least here in the Western world, in general, unless you're at a religious school where you can get your knuckles beat by a nun for not saying your prayers and everything, are generally places where education can happen pretty much freely. And the fact that this channel has the audacity to act like science is some sort of terrorist organization is beyond my ability to empathize with. So if you don't like science, then go back to your country where that religion is king and start wiping your ass with your hands and dying at 30 of cholera, like you used to do 1,000 years ago. If you don't like technology, you don't like these things that make your life better, then quit using them. Drop your cell phones, drop your nice clothes, put it all in the ocean, and go back and live the way you did before you had the technology. But you don't, of course, because you're a massive hypocrite who doesn't understand how the world works. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. This has been Reverend JR, reminding you that if you enjoyed this video, you should give it a thumbs up and share it and all that good stuff. And even if you didn't, maybe you should still like it anyway, because that's the only right thing to do, right, guys? Come on, guys. We can agree, guys. And signing off.